Sonic the Hedgehog as a gaming mascot is broken, and games like Sonic Mania and Team Sonic Racing, while they are great games, they're doing nothing for Sonic's image overall but prolonging an inevitable crash, because there is no cleanly defined image of what Sonic the Hedgehog is anymore, with one brand new exception, and that being Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which has rebooted Sonic from the very ground up. Today's video is going to be about how that film could be integral to fixing the public image of Sonic the Hedgehog and shaking off the Sonic stigma. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by NordVPN, and in the description of this video below, you can see how you can get 4 months worth of free browsing by using discount code CHANNELPUP, so you can browse safer and more freely for less. Imagine you've taken your kid to Disneyland with the sole intention of meeting Mickey Mouse for the very first time. Now, you've never been here before, you don't know what all this is. You go up to the cast member and ask them, hey, where can I meet Mickey Mouse? And then the cast member just laughs and says, you're gonna have to be more specific. So you just kind of reiterate, like, Mickey Mouse. I want to meet Mickey Mouse, the mouse one, not Goofy or Donald or anything like that. And they say, right, so do you mean modern Mickey Mouse, or classic Mickey Mouse, or Boom Mickey Mouse, or the Archie Comics version of Mickey Mouse? And you just say, I don't know, whatever one's current and appropriate for my kid, I guess. Well, if you want our flagship version of Mickey Mouse, you're gonna want the modern Mickey Mouse. Alright, great, where can I go and meet the modern Mickey Mouse? Alright, well, which modern Mickey Mouse do you have in mind? Are you thinking adventure-era modern Mickey Mouse, where it's kind of epic, a bit more urban? Are you thinking of Dark Age modern Mickey Mouse, where it's, it's kind of just, it's guns and trucks and stuff? Or are you thinking of modern Mickey Mouse, where it's very lighthearted and whimsical, a lot more like old-school Mickey Mouse? With the exception of the latest modern Mickey Mouse cartoon, which was actually very dark, like the Adventure Mickey Mouse era. This is what it would be like if Disney handled Mickey Mouse in the way that Sega handled Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's fucking ridiculous. If you have a flagship iconic character that is as successful as Sonic the Hedgehog was, you would surely make sure that that ship that you're running there is airtight. You wouldn't hack and chop that mascot up into bits and then fire it out in different directions and say, these are all different parts of the Sonic experience. They completely contradict each other, but they're all canon. There's no such thing as Sonic anymore. It's either classic Sonic or it's modern Sonic, and modern Sonic could mean one of many different things. It could mean an urban adventure among a human-populated Earth, or maybe it's on some other planet populated by nothing but animals. Sonic is either making 6-year-olds snort milk through their nose by calling Doctor Eggman baldy nose hair, or getting tortured for half a year aboard the Death Egg. And this is the thing, Sega are desperately trying to keep Sonic relevant with these little quick-fix things. Whenever it seems like modern Sonic is fading into obscurity, they remind us of how great classic Sonic was. But the thing is, even with classic Sonic, they don't dare to do anything to change that up ever. We've got him speeding through Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone again in what looks like the most fancy, expensive ROM hack I've ever seen. But is stuff like this supposed to sustain Sonic the Hedgehog as an icon for the foreseeable future? Is this the kind of thing that's going to keep Sonic timeless? And if we simply revert Sonic to classic Sonic, it's just going to leave this massive gaping hole in the franchise where modern Sonic once was, where all those ideas and experiments once were, and all of it amounted to nothing. But the thing is, the way things are right now, modern Sonic himself is kind of so inconsistent now that he's beyond repair. You see this Sonic, and you have some idea of what you're getting yourself into. You see this Sonic, and you could be getting absolutely anything. This mascot is in dire need of refinement. With the Sonic movie on the horizon and winning the favor of fans and general audiences alike with its slick marketing and cheeky presence, Paramount Pictures have essentially showcased the ideal blueprint for Sega to work off of. Now, there is some discussion, will movie Sonic replace modern Sonic in the games as well? I'd say that's pretty unlikely due to legal stuff. With the film version of Sonic, it has been worked on by Paramount Pictures, therefore Paramount Pictures will own stake in that version of Sonic, meaning that Sega and Paramount Pictures would have to come to some kind of licensing agreement for that particular version of Sonic to go both ways. But that doesn't mean that Sega can't rebuild Sonic around this version, and bank off of that. Obviously, what I'm suggesting here is a new Sonic for the video games. Not modern Sonic, not classic Sonic, not postmodern Sonic, not extra modern Sonic, not a separate universe, just one new universal quintessential Sonic. And to bank off of the film, you could kind of create a new design that's pretty similar to the film version, but different enough to avoid any legal problems with Paramount. Give Sonic realistic fur textures, but I guess you could ditch the blue arms and bring back the mono eye. In bringing in the realistic fur textures, we can go back to Sonic being the kind of AAA title that actually utilizes some of the console's graphical capabilities, as opposed to looking like an action figure like he does in Sonic Forces, Sonic's big 3D debut on the current generation of consoles, where the visuals are just frankly kinda laughable when compared to other offerings such as Ratchet & Clank and the Spyro Reignited trilogy. As a matter of fact, I checked the geometry of the Sonic Forces character model side by side with the Generations character model, using Cinema 4D. The next-gen Forces models are absolutely no higher polygon count than the Generations ones. Legitimately, there's no graphical step up for this, outside of the atmospheric aspects. Introducing realistic fur to Sonic doesn't necessarily mean making a realistic game, as showcased with the still very stylized looking Green Hill Zone in the Sonic movie trailer. There needs to be a balance between the real world and the fictional world that Sonic lives in. One thing the Sonic the Hedgehog movie has had to do is draw from completely evergreen horizons for Sonic the Hedgehog. From the very ground up, this is a reintroduction to the character for those that want to get into Sonic, and that is the film's main goal. Get you into Sonic, get you into this character, get you into this world, and have you wanting more. It's not out there to pander to a pre-existing fanbase. This is a brand new Sonic, and his story begins here. And already this has generated more interest than any Sonic video game has in the past 10 or so years. And that is not just because this is a different medium. People are able to look at these trailers and these posters without being alienated by being reminded by how inconsistent Sonic is at this stage. Sonic won't be referencing previous events from the video games in this. There's no discord between this and previous stories because this is not attached to previous stories. Unlike games like Sonic Forces and Sonic Generations, which reference one another, in spite of having stories that contradict one another.
Doubles of us? Places and enemies from our past? We're traveling through time and space!
Hey, Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
You're that Sonic from another dimension, aren't you? Right, that makes sense.
And completely opposing tones. What Sega can learn from this is that maybe they need a new beginning for Sonic, not necessarily a hard continuity reset, but a completely standalone game that works as a reintroduction, a jumping on point for potential prospective new fans. So no special gimmicks that will alienate new players, such as alternate Sonics from other dimensions, character overload, nostalgia, in-jokes, or any particularly meta or self-aware ideas. We need a Sonic game to re-establish the fundamentals of what it means to be Sonic the Hedgehog, in the way that Paramount Pictures' film has, so that the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise can be free of the stigma of the modern Sonic, and re-establish itself as a respectable AAA platforming game. Another issue with Sonic the Hedgehog games is they regularly contradict one another in regards to where they are set and what populates those settings. Sometimes we spend an adventure on Earth with human beings such as Sonic Unleashed and the Sonic Adventure games. Other times Sonic's world is populated by nothing but furry animals. Over 10 years apart we've got Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Forces. Both Sonic games have an entire planetary map for you to explore, but it's quite obvious that that planet that you traverse in Sonic Forces is definitely not the same planet that you're on in Sonic Unleashed, and this is never acknowledged. Sonic Unleashed is populated by humans, such as Professor Pickle. Sonic Forces has nothing but animals who all kinda look the same, and Doctor Eggman is the only human to be found. None of this has ever been acknowledged in a Sonic game. How can we grow attached to the world that we're saving if we don't even know what world that is? And also especially if the game's not long enough for us to even get an attachment to that world. Sonic Forces. More like Sonic Foreskin. Once again, the Sonic the Hedgehog film kinda lays down the fundamentals of where all these things actually take place, setting up that Sonic's world and the human world are two different worlds, but there's a portal that brings the two together, that you can reach by using a giant dimensional ring. So sometimes Sonic's gotta save his own world, sometimes he's gotta save the human world. Sega would be wise to lay that fundamental down in the video games as well, to give the Sonic franchise a bit of consistency going forward, but also to retroactively make things more consistent as well by finally answering that question, as to where Sonic even actually lives. The truth be told, you want to give Sonic the Hedgehog an enemy worth fighting. You want to give the player a goal worth taking down. Sega have rather desperately tried to make Dr. Robotnik more intimidating by having him successfully take over the world in Sonic Forces. The problem is, when Sonic finally does take him down, he looks even more foolish than ever before. And it's just a reminder of the fact that Dr. Robotnik is not much of a threat. The character can still be goofy, but there needs to be a threat going on if the player is to actually want to truly feel involved in the game's story. In the games, when you really think about it, Dr. Robotnik nowadays is quite a passive villain. He goes about his business trying to take over the world or build Eggman Land depending on which game you're playing, and uses a load of robots to get that done. Robots that aren't even converted from animals anymore, so that's another evil deed he's stopped doing. And he'll only really take on Sonic when Sonic tries to get in the way of those plans. In the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, however, Dr. Robotnik is a bit of a different story, as he's a much more proactive villain. He's been hired by the government to trap Sonic the Hedgehog and bring him to the US government, while Dr. Robotnik has motives of his own to uncover the source of his power and dominate the world. Probably, I'm guessing. I mean, it's Dr. Robotnik we're talking about, and it's a villain in a children's movie. What else is he gonna want to do, sell real estate? This flips the dynamic quite a bit though, as it's Dr. Robotnik that's chasing after Sonic the Hedgehog and trying to crush him, as opposed to the other way around. And that's a much more gripping position for Sonic to actually be in. I know Sega likes to have Sonic on top at all times, but you gotta let something give, you know? Because the Sonic we have right now is the ultimate Gary Stu, and Dr. Robotnik is just, there's nothing to him. You could give Dr. Robotnik a number of motivations, but at the center of every one of them should be that he wants to kill Sonic. Destroying Sonic the Hedgehog should always be step one of his evil scheme, so that we can actually experience the urgency and we can have the desire to earn that speed and go fast. It could be as simple as Dr. Robotnik just wanting revenge for a previous defeat. The point is, it should be Dr. Robotnik threatening Sonic the Hedgehog, not the other way around. If Sonic is the top dog at all times, where has he really got to go? I feel like we've gotten to know Sonic in the trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which is about 2 or 3 minutes long, more so than we've got to know the modern Sonic over the entire approximately 15 years of his run. What does modern Sonic actually like to do in his spare time? He likes eating chili dogs and spending time with friends. Just that, really. That's all it is. Spending time with friends, being a socialite, being cool. That's his thing. He's a Gary Stu, as I say. We're supposed to believe that he's impatient and short-tempered, but you kind of have to take Sega's word for that, because that definitely doesn't come across in any Sonic game. In the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, we see that Sonic likes to exercise, which can include baseball and table tennis, practicing nunchucks. He likes to stay active. He likes reading comic books. He's sensitive to loneliness. He's overexcitable and hyperactive, which can be counterintuitive. He has jealousy issues. He has his own sense of unbreakable self-image and a sense of self-worth. This is a properly fleshed out character, which is going to make us want to see more of him, which is going to make us like being in his company. If we're going to commit to a talking Sonic that interacts with the world around him, we need time for Sonic to slow down and interact with other characters and environments. Games like Sonic Unleashed did this very well by having hub worlds with lots of characters that Sonic can interact with, and food shops where you can just waste time and find out what Sonic does and doesn't like. Sonic games have been very committed to being fast-paced, but I feel like something like the hub worlds in Sonic Unleashed is in order for us to actually get comfy with Sonic, to get to know him, so that between the urgency of the main levels, we can just kind of sit down with Sonic for a bit, just experience his world and learn to care about that as well. Actually be able to process these really blisteringly fast levels and the brisk adventure by just having a little area to play around in and just breathe. Now that doesn't mean be exactly like Sonic Unleashed where they're just little playgrounds for you to scamper around. Like sure, build mechanics into these little hub towns that allow Sonic to just play around with his speed and his physics for a bit, to let players get to grips with Sonic's controls at their own leisurely pace before opting to go into further levels. This would also give the game more replay value and make it more expansive and, well, more fun. The best kind of games are multi-layered. You can enjoy them from the perspective of playing through the story, and you can enjoy them from the perspective of just wasting time. A little play area in a Sonic game for people to just waste time in I think that's well in order. Roll around, practice stunts, talk to people, get to know Sonic a little better, buy stuff. I'd love to take movie Sonic and just get to know him through a bunch of social interactions. And with the concrete definition between the Earth world and the Sonic world that the film offers, we could see what kind of different character dynamics he has between those different worlds. The sad thing about all of this is I think Sega's golden opportunity has passed. If the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is great and it's a big hit, people are gonna come out of this movie, including people disillusioned with the franchise and people who have just never played a Sonic game before, and those people are gonna be thinking, heck, I want to play a Sonic game now. The best thing Sega could have done is had a Sonic game like this in development way earlier on, so that the game would essentially be on shelves waiting for filmgoers who have just watched this movie and want to experience Sonic for themselves. And a game kind of like the one I just pitched would have been the perfect opportunity to ride that wave. I gotta admit, sometimes I do wonder if the people working at Sega really are professionals, because they're learning all the wrong lessons, and they're not taking the opportunities that they need to take. They're not doing anything to shake off the Sonic stigma, they're only furthering that. And right now, rather than having a new Sonic game ready for all the new fans that the Sonic movie could bring in, they're working on the 30th anniversary game. Another anniversary game for us to look over through nostalgia-tinted lenses Sonic's past, and probably see the return of 2D gameplay courtesy of classic Sonic. More simple delaying of the inevitable death of Sonic. Games like Team Sonic Racing and Sonic Mania are great games, but they come at a cost to the franchise. That amusement comes at the cost of Sonic's image. Sega now just need to pick a Sonic and just run with it at this stage. Which sure, that would probably mean some corners of the fan base are left a little neglected maybe. But the focus right now should be getting new fans. And you can't please everyone, and Sega need to understand that. Because otherwise you get games like Sonic Forces that try and please everyone and don't truly please anyone. Sega need to look at the Sonic the Hedgehog movie and learn the lessons from it. See where the potential is. See how that could impact their games in a really positive way. And for Christ's sake, make sure the development teams are properly staffed and get better writers. This is Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a mascot. He's one of the greatest video game mascots of all time. The one to rival Mario. Treat him like it. Well, what do you guys think? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below are the links to my Patreon and my Twitter. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day. That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you? Because you could get a way better costume from Zentai Zone. Check out their range of custom-made, tailored superhero costumes. Ridiculously good quality, value, and customization. Link is in the description below, as well as my coupon code CHANNELPUP, where you can get a discount off of your purchase. And while you're at it, why not get your suit designed by my talented buddy Dan from New Blood Dan's workshop? You can contact him via the link in the description below. Seriously guys, you do not want to miss out on your chance to be your favorite superhero and feel authentic and professional. And you don't want to miss out on that Channel Pup discount.